At 62, Graham Norton names the 6 guests he couldn't stand, and as expected, his revelations are delivered not with bitterness or malice, but with the sharp wit, self-awareness, and honesty that have made him one of the most beloved talk show hosts in television history, because Norton has always been clear that while his red chair and famous couch appear relaxed and playful, hosting a long-running talk show requires emotional intelligence, timing, and an ability to manage wildly different personalities under intense pressure, and over the years he has welcomed hundreds of actors, musicians, comedians, and public figures, most of whom he genuinely enjoyed, but Norton now admits that a handful of guests left him feeling uncomfortable, frustrated, or simply exhausted, not because they were villains, but because they disrupted the delicate chemistry that makes good television work, and according to Norton, the guests he struggled with most were not necessarily the biggest stars, but those who arrived guarded, humorless, dismissive of others, or unwilling to engage in conversation beyond rehearsed talking points, explaining that nothing drains a live show faster than someone who refuses to listen, refuses to laugh, or treats the experience as beneath them. And while he avoids naming these 6 individuals out of respect, Norton candidly describes patterns that made them memorable for the wrong reasons, including guests who spoke only about themselves, ignored fellow guests, or appeared irritated by the playful tone of the show. And he recalls moments when he had to work twice as hard to keep energy alive, gently steering conversations, injecting humor, and protecting the comfort of others on the couch, all while smiling for the audience. And Norton also acknowledges that nerves, cultural differences, and career pressures can play a role, admitting that some guests likely had bad days rather than bad personalities, but he emphasizes that true charm in a guest comes from generosity, the willingness to share the spotlight and play along, something the best guests instinctively understand. And as he reflects at this stage of his life, Norton says these challenging encounters taught him valuable lessons about empathy, boundaries, and the importance of authenticity, reinforcing his belief that fame does not excuse poor behavior and that kindness is always noticeable, especially in high-pressure environments. And perhaps the most revealing part of his reflection is his admission that hosting taught him as much about himself as it did about others, helping him grow more patient, more observant, and more confident in trusting his instincts. And now, looking back with humor rather than resentment, Graham Norton makes it clear that the guests he couldn't stand ultimately strengthened his craft, sharpened his hosting skills, and deepened his appreciation for those who show up with humility and warmth, reminding audiences that behind every effortless laugh on television lies careful navigation, emotional labor, and years of experience. And for more revealing stories about the real personalities behind fame, stay tuned to Hollywood Spotlight.